How's it going? ISO here. Welcome to a speedrun with Guardian. Full synergies, full suicides, but no boosts. Just how a speedrun should be done. And let me say, I was impressed. I didn't give him much hope because I know his playstyle and it's a lot of SP3s. So I was like, you know what? He's not gonna compete with some of the greats. But I was impressed, guys, that he actually does. He puts up a really fantastic time competing with the likes of Doom, Omega Red, Namor, you name it, and he is just so much fun to use. So stay tuned for that epic Wolverine takedown and some of the other crazy fights I have in here, guys. And I just had so much fun with him. He's quickly becoming one of my top champs in the entire game. His animation, his utility, and his damage output is just insane. Let me just remind you that people like Star-Lord, Proxima Midnight, Gilly 2099, they have some really amazing damage output, but the difference between them and Guardian is that Guardian has no cap to his damage. And you know what, unless they obviously put up a cap like in LOL or Abyss, but in theory he doesn't have a cap to his damage output. And to get out his damage, to really use that damage, is very consistent. You know, you don't really rely on RNGs to do this, and he's got a lot of features that I'm going to explain. And I did a lot of trial and error, guys. I tried out all of the synergies, different combos, different OP synergies, and I found this synergy to be the best. So we're using a power gain synergy, not full power gain, because one of them is actually White Magneto, House of X, and I think people have been overlooking this synergy with Guardian. I'm thinking about just making a whole video explaining that synergy because it really propagates him to another level. It allows him to reach his damage output much quicker. But let me just explain what happened, and don't worry guys, I'm not gonna have you sit here through all the SP3 animations. I will fast forward them for the rest of these fights, because you just saw me decimate that Winter Soldier. You saw me just hitting into him, and suddenly he was down to like 2%. So that's what Guardian is about. He's about that burst damage and that just amazing damage output that you see. So you want to do two things here, guys. You want to throw an SP3 in the beginning of the fight, and after you do that, you see that I have 8 force field charges now, and the first 3 that Guardian gets from any means, that can be from his timer that you see right next to it, that gray timer, that's his force field charge timer. It goes down every 12 seconds, but since I have the Magneto House of X, it goes down, it basically I get another one every 8.5 seconds. It cuts it down by 3.5 seconds. So that allows me to reach my damage output that much quicker. And if you do like an SP1 or an SP3, then he'll get those 3 permanent charges. So what I do is I do an SP3, which gives me 6 more permanent force field charges, and then I do another SP3 after that, as you saw right there, give me another 6, followed by an SP1 to get to about 20. And that, I found, just as you saw there, just destroys the opponents in one shot. So we're about 4 minutes here, and I'm kind of lagging here, and it's kind of, when you're doing like a Legends run, right, when it starts lagging, you get kind of antsy, right, because hey, I could put up like a faster time, but hey, that's Marvel Contest of Champions for you. So basically that's what you want to do, guys. You want to do 2 SP3s followed by an SP1 and an SP2, because 20 of those force field charges pretty much guarantees a knockout if you get the right RNGs. And by right RNGs, all I mean is if he crits in one of the blasts, I see that it tends to do more damage if he just manages to crit. Otherwise, he will still do energy damage based on the force field charges. Those are the red numbers that you see after I fire that SP2. But Juggernaut here, he is probably one of the slower fights because it was unstoppable, I was trying to not have him throw his specials, just because I have to just wait out the unstoppable. And it's, you know, it's not the biggest of deals, but I just want to be able to put up the maximum, the fastest time as possible. The thing with Guardian, guys, that makes him very viable for this strategy is the fact that he gains power every time you parry a special attack. So that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to do the re-parry method during the special attacks and just gain some power. It's a perfect block and a power gain, and I believe it lasts for like 0.5 seconds after you parry. And basically any hit that you get, he will get a perfect block. And that actually has a lot of potential, because if you can re-parry during mid animation, that means that he will have perfect block for another 0.5 seconds. So imagine you're going up to like collector or something and you re-parry, then he'll basically perfect block a lot of those hits. So you saw there, I took him down again with the same combo. White Magneto does have a ability where if you turn on his pre-fight, then the champion that goes in gains an attack boost. I believe it's like 5% or 7%. I have to look that up. And basically I did that because I found that Rhino is very bulky. He wasn't really going down with those 20 force field charges. You have to have had some great RNGs to take him down. But you saw in the beginning I wasn't able to parry Rhino, so I got clipped. And it was very unfortunate that the bug is still there where you can't parry in the beginning, but after like the first couple of seconds, you're able to parry. And the thing with the Magneto synergy is that it also works really great for Guardian, because he's a metal champion and a hero champion. So that means that from that synergy, he's going to get an increased attack and 10% increased ability accuracy. And that is so good for Guardian, because from that one synergy alone, he's getting an attack boost, an ability accuracy boost, as well as a faster cooldown to his force field charges. And that is just insane, guys. And if you see how you saw now how I activated the pre-fight, you can pretty much increase that attack boost even more 3 times in the quest with the pre-fight ability of Magneto. And that just makes Guardian so well. And you saw me just take him down there with that crazy SP2. I gotta tell you guys that I'm never gonna get tired of that SP2. You know, just firing it off is pretty amazing. And the thing too with Guardian is that now that I'm closer to 50%, I'm going to increase my damage output with the Courage Mastery. And so that's what you want to do, guys. You want to do 2 SP3s, and that's the reason why I'm running the power gain synergy, just to get through those quicker. And Storm here, she's gonna go down pretty quick. You know, I do have class advantage, and you saw there, guys, I needed some power, so I actually got hit by that SP. No, I'm just playing. So you saw there that I got the perfect block from that special, and that's another thing that Guardian has. It goes up by the chance to perfect block a special goes up by 15% for every force field charge to a maximum of 75%, and I believe it goes up by 15% for against mutants. So I pretty much have a 90% chance to auto block any incoming special attack. And that's why when you're fighting Guardian, you want to armor break him, because if he's armor broken, then he won't have that ability to auto block. And actually, guys, when he auto blocks and he perfect blocks, he actually does gain I believe some power there, because it is a special attack and you are perfect, you know, you are having a perfect block from it. So here I do 2 SP3s followed by an SP1, and I'm at 20 field charges. And I know, guys, sometimes it seems like overkill. You're like, you know, you could have just fired it off at 15 and it probably would have killed. You know what, sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't, just based on the crit from the beams. And when it doesn't, guys, it feels bad building him back up. So I think I'd rather just go for a more consistent gameplay where you just do the 2 SP3s and the SP1 to get the 20 force field charges and fire it there. Now Vision, actually I have a great matchup with him because he is a robot and Guardian does apply a shock at the end of his SP3, and of course Vision is going to take a lot more shock damage because he's a robot. And the SP2 also, I believe, enhances the, so he will take a lot of damage from the SP2 as well. So as you see there, the shock damage isn't really crazy, but it is doing a bit more damage. And I am rinsing him down. He's almost at 80% here, and I've only gone through 1 cycle. So at this point, I'm like just thinking, is it worth going through the SP1? It might not be worth it. He might just go down with just a simple SP3, 2 SP3s with the takedown. But yeah, you see here, I'm not really struggling against any of these champions. I know that they're not really anything special, they're pretty much easy champions to fight, but as you see upcoming ahead, guys, I've got 2 of the biggest obstacles for a lot of people. One of them is Wolverine because it's intense regen, and the other one is Scarlet Witch because she can poison you on critting. So, and if you already see Guardian, you kind of know the what I'm trying to say here with that. But yeah, Vision is being rinsed down. Unfortunately I couldn't get him down there, but 1 more SP2 and he should go down there. 1%, come on. Unfortunately didn't get much crits towards the end there, but 1 medium and he goes down. So right now we're at 13 minutes and it's looking pretty good. I'm past halfway here, and Black Panther here, he is kind of bulky, but I'm imagining that I will save some time with the, at this point I'm just thinking I want to save some time. I could probably save some time with the Black Bolt because he does end up killing himself with the SP2. So I found that parrying his last hit was pretty easy, and that was kind of my goal here, to gain just some more power in order to go through the SP3 quicker. And the synergies I'm using, as you see here, I'm running full suicides, and Guardian works amazing with suicides because if you're playing him in a normal match, you're just doing SP3s and you won't get damage back, the recoil damage from the SP3s. So you can just pretty much cycle all of those and not have to worry about taking the recoil damage and also building up the damage from Guardian, because when you throw an SP2 you're gonna just use all those force field charges to hit into the opponent, and ideally the opponent's going to die, so you won't take that 5% recoil damage. Also, he is bleed resistant, and this is why the awaken ability is really important for Guardian. If you want to use him on the offense just for the damage output and for the block proficiency synergy for other members, you can. But if you want that utility where he goes up against Domino, Electro, just a tank of a champion, and have that bleed resistance, you need the awakened ability at high sig, because the higher sig he is, the more resistance he gains to bleed, the more critical resistance, the more physical resistance. And as you saw, when these champions, when I got clipped with these champions, I pretty much didn't get any crit on me, but you love to see that SP2, man. 20,000 tick per half second. You love to see it. That burst damage is one of the best in the game. I mean, there's a lot of crazy champions out there, damage over time, but 20,000 per tick. If there was a synergy that increases Guardian's ability to, or basically increases damage over time, I think Guardian's damage output would increase that much more. So with Scarlet Witch, I also found that she was pretty bulky actually. Every time I did the 20 of those plasma charges, she would go down to 15%. So I actually opted out for using the pre-fight ability on White Magneto just to increase my attack a bit more. And when I do parry her, I can fit in actually a medium followed by an SP3 due to that stun duration. So that's what I'm doing here, guys. I'm just again doing the 2 SP3s and the SP1. But you see why he is so good against the Scarlet Witch fight, because he doesn't crit. And sometimes that sounds like a bad thing, because hey, this game is so reliant on crits. That's where the damage comes from most champions. But the thing with Guardian is that crit damage is actually translated into the energy damage. Those red numbers that you see after a hit, that's the damage that he would do if he critted. But look at that burst, man. 19,000 per tick, and she just goes down. 17 minutes, come on, 3 more fights. Can we get a sub 22 minute time here? And guys, keep in mind that he's a lot of the time spent in these matches is during the SP3 animation. So if we didn't have that, his time would be just so that much greater, that much better. So with Wolverine here, an obstacle for many people because he regens like crazy. It's insane the amount of regen that he gets. Here I tested it out beforehand, so I was kind of doing the math, right? When I do 2 SP2s, basically when I have 20 of those charges, I basically take down about half the health, maybe a bit more, like 60% ish. I am running class advantage here, so basically if I do 4 of them, then I can take down maybe like 85-90% of his health. But if he was to regen during that time, and I was also factoring in the crit, if I don't crit with the beams, then maybe he would like be down at 5%, 2%. And if I was really unlucky and proc a regen, then I would have to do the whole thing all over again. So this is a fight that took a long time, guys. I think if you run Despair and the synergy with Sasquatch, this fight can actually be that much quicker, because if you have Sasquatch, and I don't have him, not even as a 3-star, so I couldn't test this out, but if you have Sasquatch, for every perfect block or every parry basically, I believe Wolverine or the opponent gains a shock debuff. And if you have the the resonate mastery, right, when you get a debuff applied and the regen is decreased, you can maybe stack those shocks if you're just being pretty aggressive and lucky, and his regen won't regen, and you can just stack up that damage and burst him down with an SP2. In theory, that's possible. I couldn't try it, as I said. So just to play safe here, guys, I was like, you know what, it's gonna be overkill, I already know, but I'm just gonna build up to 5 SP3s and just get the guaranteed takedown on Wolverine. Now, I've seen some like rank 3 speedruns on YouTube, and there's some pretty good times, but I feel like Guardian's time for a rank 3 6-star is actually gonna be really good for him, just because I don't think he will have to cycle through that SP1. I think he would just have to do those 2 SP3s and then that SP2, and the champion will go down. If you can do that, I think that's gonna shave off like 30 seconds or 20 seconds per fight, and in the long run that's gonna be really good. And you saw here, it was such crazy amount of overkill. I think I got some really good RNGs there, but also I just finished them off really quickly, and that fight took a while. And I think if I had a 6-star rank 3 and you can just cycle 3 SP3s, he can potentially go down, especially with his synergy, or if you increase his attack even more with other synergies. So we have 2 fights left, guys. Here I was trying to push him to an SP2. He wouldn't really play with me. He was just throwing his SP1s pretty liberally. So I'm just, I'm just gonna hold block and have him not throw that SP1 anymore. That way I can get that recoil damage and salvage some time from that Wolverine fight. But that's, we're coming at an end here, and it just felt so smooth this whole run. and you see Black Bolt here just throwing that SP1. Other synergies that I did try, and I'll just name them here. I tried the Nick Fury synergy, where I just basically killed him off in the beginning. It was about 10 seconds worth of time. You know, I think it's worth it. I think those 10 seconds can be made up. And the thing with Guardian is that he doesn't rely on crits. So you just want to kind of play him like Corvus, in the sense that the more attack that you get with the synergies, the more damage output you're gonna have. Because I'm not sure if he gains any cruelty, any buffs from his cruelty, from the cruelty mastery. I think it would make sense that he does, and I think he does. But it's something that maybe I can try. And you saw here Black Bolt just rinsed down with 2 SP2s, 2 SP3s really quickly, and Hulk here is a little bit buff, and someone activated survivability. But we're on this last fight. Come on, Guardian. 38%, guys. After throwing pretty much an SP1 on every fight and taking a lot of block damage, that is pretty good. And the reason why his health isn't going down very much is because I regen from that bleed. I think it's about 5% or maybe less, but it's still really good. It's guaranteed regen in the beginning of the fight. So I'm throwing 2 SP3s here against Hulk. And something I want you guys to notice, when I do the last hit, look how the body animation of bigger characters, I think this is pretty cool. If you see the animations of like Wolverine or Scarlet Witch or the smaller characters, I feel like their body bounces more from the wall. I just thought it was pretty cool, man, that the bigger champions don't really fly that much because they're bigger. They're just more massive. As you see here, the last hit, he doesn't move very much. But yeah, guys, I had a ton of fun with Guardian here, coming in at 25 minutes so far. Gotta do that SP2 after I hit that SP1, and that's game over for Hulk here. But you know what? I am very proud of Guardian's time here. I thought he was gonna do like 30 minutes, and just basically not even be worth talking about. But given his utility, his damage output, and you can just optimize them in so many ways. You can just rearrange all the masteries, all for attack, take away the crit, put it all in attack, and you know what, man, he is just so good. I had a ton of fun making this video, and I hope you did too, everyone. It's about 25-42 here. It's about to go down. Unfortunately, couldn't get him. Just 1 SP1 to finish the fight, clocking in at 25-48. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this speed run. If you have any questions, any comments, let me know down below. Thanks.